Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of Seen Beyond and Through with Monty. This episode is titled The Black Fantasy because I am going to explain to you how this particular porn is having an effect on black men. And I will explain to you that effect is negative. It's called the black fantasy because black men are fantasizing in the wrong way. And it's affecting the psyche of black men, again, in a negative way. And before I continue on, I need for you to watch these videos. They're very short, about 5 minutes, and it's going to lead up into what I'm talking about, and as I make my point. So, here we go.
You grow up as a white girl?
Yes.
And you get attention from black guys?
Yes.
In my experience and all the other white girls that I know, we don't think that getting attention from black guys gives you a status of some sort. If you get attention from the white guys, you do have the status more than if you get attention from black guys.
As a man, I'm going to have to respectfully disagree with that.
Well, as a woman who gets attention and who grew up in a white culture more than a black culture, I'm going to tell you that getting attention from black guys is not a badge of honor if you're white.
Okay.
And I'm white.
You are white.
Yes.
Now,
if a white girl gets attention from a white guy, that's more valuable in white culture than if she gets attention from a black guy. If she gets attention from a black guy, that doesn't make you a better anything. Like, that doesn't raise you in anybody's eyes. As a matter of fact,
in some people's eyes, it does.
As a matter of fact, it's a little bit of she's basically not good enough for the white, so she's good for the black guys. That's how it's looked at. If a white girl gets attention from a white guy, that's more valuable.
This black man, he couldn't even perceive of this. He said he respectfully disagrees, even though she is telling you. This is a white woman. She says, well, I'm a white woman, and I'm telling you how we view you. And he just didn't want to accept it. This is because, again, there's this pride that so-called black men have in themselves. And then there's the whole thing of believing that a white woman makes him somehow better. But she's telling him, no, it may make you better because you see me as the prize. But on the flip side of that, I don't see you as the prize, black man. She's telling you right there in your face. Now, I read one of the comments under the video that was shared on social media. And, of course, the black man says a statement. He says, well, she's still sitting in the car. And I bet she'll change her mind if I pull out my so-and-so. And you all can just fill in the blanks on that. So, again, this is the black man thinking that his worth, that particular black man, thinking that his worth is in what's between his legs. What else do you have to offer? In that woman's mind, she knows she can get that anyway, even if she tells you how she feels. She knows that she can get that anyway. As a matter of fact, I remember many years ago, we saw a video where a white woman was just calling this guy the N-word. She was saying, look, N-word, 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 whatever. And he said, I still want to sleep with you. So it's like he put down any amount of self-esteem that he could have possibly had just to say, look, even though you feel that I'm the N-word, I still want to sleep with you, because this is what he's thinking with. Not thinking with his head, not thinking of the danger that could be attached to dealing with such a woman.
They said in this girls only group chat, they were discussing black men. And honestly, the conversation was weird. Only managed to get 3 screenshots. On the other thread, they were trying to make it a point to say, it's not only white men who feel this way. The person also posted the screenshots from the group chat. In this group chat, users by the name of Daniela, Courtney, Zara, Kara, Abigail, Sarah, Coley, and someone named Lisa. It was a lot of different people, but the ones that were the most vocal were the ones that I named. So here's what they say in the group chat. Daniela said, I'll with a black guy, even date for a bit, but never marry. And Courtney said, oh my God, same. I don't see the appeal. Zara chimed in and said, black guys would do anything for be with a white girl. It's kind of pathetic. Daniela said, you don't understand. Oh my God. Kara said, then explain. They don't have any appeal. In fact, they're the latest, I didn't even say last, but she said the latest good looking. Abigail LMAO, ask a white guy to come over at 3 a.m. and he'll say no. Ask a black guy to come over and he'll be there in a heartbeat. Dinah said, black men will go above and beyond to please you because being with a white woman to them is a dream come true. So Kara says, so basically they're easy. Daniela said, if I tell a black boy I want a tinkle tinkle in his mouth, he will let me. No way with a white guy. Black guys have low self-esteem and love us. Courtney said, isn't that using them? Zara said, sounds like they're like puppets. Coley says, it's not like they are not using us too. It's mutual thing. Courtney said, fair enough, but they're not my type. Sarah said, guys, don't they smell though? After blank, don't they get sweaty and smell? Courtney was laughing and Abigail said, they do. Oh my God, the smell's horrible. And I'm not sure if this is part of the same group chat, but Lisa was talking to someone. They were talking about being easy and she said, easy? No, girl, it's because we've lighter skin and soft hair. Black men will literally choose a white woman over a black woman. So after they made those posts, you would have thought that some black girls and black...
What I'm getting is you like black more.
Very much so.
Okay, so we are back. And you heard and seen all the videos. In the first video, there was a black man in a car chatting with a white female. And she told him, out of her own mouth, that getting attention from black men is not a prize. It's not anything that white women, most of them, admire or really take any type of high consideration to. Because attention and validation from white men is much more important. And you clearly seen from the videos that the vast majority of white women do not prefer black men. Okay, I agree with that because I grew up in a white area. I went to school in a white area. And I can tell you that that is true. Most races are race loyal. They prefer to date, marry, intermingle, procreate with people of their own ethnicity. That's just the way it is. Is that racism? I don't think so. But for some strange reason, black men here recently have this notion that a large number of white women somehow wants them, are desiring them, or as some of them call it, want to jump on their BBC. Now, I don't particularly care for that word. I'm just using it to make a point. This is a belief system that a lot of black men have. And you have to wonder, where does this come from? Why do so many black men believe that these white women desire them in large numbers, when in fact that is not the case? This company right here called Black was formed in 2014 by Greg Lansky. He was born in Paris, France. He's a Parisian. And I truly believe that interracial porn is warping the mentality of a lot of black men. This site right here is the #1 interracial site in the world. The vast majority of users of this particular site who's actually joined it and who enjoy this type of porn would be black men. Because as I've studied porn. Now, follow me very carefully with this here. Black men who are into porn are more turned on by black men with white women. That's what turns them on the most. White men are more turned on by white men with Asian women. So the vast consumers of this type of porn, I'm willing to bet you that 85 to 90% of people who enjoy this are black men. You may have a few white women, going to be like no more than 2%. You're not going to have a lot of white men. A lot of white men are just not going to be in black men beating down white women, so to speak. It's not going to turn them on. As I've stated, the vast majority of white men get more turned on by watching white men with Asian women. So a lot of black men are looking at this porn right here, and they're having their perception skewed because they are thinking, because of what they see online, is somehow truth in reality, when in reality it is not the truth. These women in porn, from this particular site right here, black, these women right here are getting paid for a service. I am willing to bet you that the vast majority of them, 98% of them, in their real life, do not prefer black men. They are getting paid for a service. And I'm also willing to bet you too that the vast majority of them, their partners, whether they are male or female, are white. Black men are mistaken if they believe that this is some type of reality, or this is what's out there in the real world, or this is what these white women really want. Most of these women here are not that extreme. They don't practice the extreme things that you see online. I'll state 100 times, they're practicing that because they are getting paid. They are performers. Some would say actresses. Okay, I wouldn't take that away from them. But they are performers. They are getting paid to perform a job. This is not real life. The majority of these actresses will not prefer black men. It is a job to them. But perception can be very strong. And I will say this, visualization can be very strong. They visualize, and sometimes people cannot separate fact from fantasy or reality from fantasy. So black men view this and think that they are in high demand by white women. And somehow through this, that this is going to turn on white women, when in fact it does not. It turns on very few. The vast majority who are turned on by this type of porn are black men. This is what black men believe that in real life they have a shot at, when you clearly seen from the videos that the vast majority of white women do not think highly of black men. And the only black men who are really hurt by that are those who go around chasing them, who really have this warped perception that somehow what they are watching in pornography is real. Now, you may have some college-age white women who are kind of like passing through, who are experimenting, but as they start to get older, even among college age, they still prefer other white men. They still prefer who they are. So I'm noticing that on TikTok a lot and on other social media sites, black men are giving out all this praise and glory to white women. And I made this video because I've seen this like grow. And I'm wondering, there must be a catalyst for this or somehow something that is pushing us to the forefront. And what's pushing us to the forefront, I truly believe, is pornography. It's giving too many black men an inflated ego in the wrong direction. That inflated ego is very misleading. These white women do not want or prefer black men. And I'm not saying that to hurt anyone. I'm saying that to speak the truth. I'm stating this because people are being guided by a fantasy. And one has to be very careful with that. And if you think that black cannot survive just with black men, primarily as their focal point and their supporters, think again. This is a Tyler Perry movie. All of Tyler Perry's earlier plays and movies are geared towards the black audience. Tyler Perry has stated himself that he makes movies for a certain niche. That's black people. Here's another Tyler Perry movie. And if you can remember an artist, he's passed away now, Elin Harris. Well, back in the 1980s, he was selling books at barbershops, black barbershops. And his books was geared towards a black audience. So a black audience, a group of black men, can definitely primarily sustain a porn company. This is Greg Lansky. He's the founder of Black. As I've stated once before, he founded Black in 2014. He's from Paris, France. The list down here, this is from 1982. He was 37 then. He was born, let's see right there, in 1982. Pardon me, he's 37 right now. But he's the founder of Black. So it's not controlled by black people. The founder is what I'm talking about. But the revenue generated is from black men, primarily. So no, for the most part, these women here do not want black men. That shouldn't be so hard to understand, that we're in America. President Trump got how many votes? 70 million people voted for Trump. Did 80 million vote for Biden? But if that, figure this out. So that means that 70 million Americans are okay with bigotry and racism. That means that it's not a deal breaker for them. That means that there's going to be a hell of a lot of racist white people in America. White racist people in America, men and women. Yes, girls, white chicks can screw you. Doesn't mean anything. Doesn't mean that they're not racist. Doesn't mean that they value or respect you. Doesn't mean that they even want you. It just simply means that you can be a commodity for the moment, or you can be an experiment. Most of these don't want black men. It's a business, people. This is all a business. It's a fantasy. It is not real. People really need to get that through their head and stop taking what you see on screen and applying that to you and thinking that this is how it's going to be. I've heard one guy talk, he was from the UK, and said he's seen these black guys going to clubs down there. And he noticed that they'll be sitting against a wall, and when the club is over, they're still sitting there, thinking that they're going to leave with a white chick, but it doesn't happen. Am I saying, am I against interracial? No. I'm against a fantasy, people taking that and perceiving that as being a reality and taking that into their real life. Because to a degree, this is having an effect on the black community. A small effect, I would say, that is making a small number of black men, some we can quibble about the numbers, preferring white women because they see things on screen and think that they are going to have this shot or chance in real life, and they think that these women, these white women, are going to want and desire them. And let me just tell you something about these women in porn. Most of these women in porn are not as kinky as they portray on video. You'll be surprised about that. Most of them are pretty much just a little head job and then on with the act. Maybe a position here or there. So no, it's not going to be a situation where I have this kinky white chick. She's very nasty. She's going to let me and my partner bang her. Most chicks, regardless of color, will be horrified at two guys at the same time. And sure in the hell, most of them do not want 4, 5, and 6 guys in a gangbang. That's fantasy. But people need to be aware of that. And people need to understand where to leave it. Taking it into your real life can be very disappointing. And I'm sure a lot of people have experienced that. So I wish all this foolishness, with these guys going to the malls, and I'll do a video about that. Interviewing white chicks, asking them, do they like them? It's nothing more than seeking validation, pretty much. All it is just validation from white people. You got to be very careful as to who you make important, who you put on a pedestal, who you admire, who you look up to, who you desire. Because what you may desire and all of that, most times it's not going to be reciprocated. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, that was another edition of Seeing Beyond and Through with Monty, and I will see you beyond and through.